People that are like, yap, 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 oh, institutions and, large banks and treasury funds and all this aren't going to be generating yield. No, they are. And they're doing it right now in the moment. And it's all taking place for the first time ever. We're at such a historical moment in time where looking back a year from now, not paying attention to this type of stuff, in my personal opinion, is going to put you so far behind. So you guys just being on the Zoom call right now, reading these docs with me and thoroughly going through all these DeFi primitives is just groundbreaking. Okay.
And we're finally seeing real traction. XRPL is supporting real-world applications ranging from payments to yield generation, all decentralized and at scale.
This initiative will focus on the acquisition of XRP tokens as a long-term strategic reserve, the deployment of staking mechanisms to generate yield, and deep engagement within the Ripple ecosystem. Today's video breakdown, I'm going to thoroughly walk through some of the most exciting DeFi applications and recent developments unfolding on the XRP ledger. Now, as many of you know, the XRPL is in the process of integrating the EVM sidechain capabilities, which will basically unlock full smart contract programmability. This is an absolute major step forward, and it opens the door for decentralized applications and protocols to thrive on the network. Now, these tools, from what I've seen, are becoming accessible for both institutional and retail investors. If you guys have watched some of the recent Apex announcements from David Schwartz, he said the same thing, which is going to offer opportunities that were never previously available for us within the XRPL ecosystem, which is just groundbreaking. Okay, these are things that we've been waiting for years now, and they're all becoming readily available. There's still a lot of them in testnet phases. Some of them have launched and are on regulated platforms right now, but not available to certain jurisdictions, which we'll get into in today's video breakdown. Just one thing to keep in mind as we explore these developments, it is important and very, very, I just cannot stress enough, important to remember, okay, that risk management is key. I want you guys to really avoid rushing into every yield protocol that you all see. I know that a lot of us are excited about earning and generating yield with utility assets that we've held for many, many years. But many of these projects, we have to understand, are still in their infancy phase. Some are in testnet, like I mentioned, which you'll see in today's video breakdown, while others are only available in select jurisdictions. For example, some of the real estate platforms that I'm going to show you guys that just launched in Dubai aren't available in the United States. So I'm just going to show you guys some of the things that are going on. Just keep in mind that a sound approach would be to let these protocols run for a few months to assess their sustainability before committing capital to them. And then whenever you do, if you decide to, whenever they launch on mainnet, diversify, right? Don't just go out and wing all your long-term XRP bags onto these protocols. Maybe even start to build a side bag of XRP that you utilize in DeFi. I will be allocating a portion of my XRP to some of these DeFi protocols when they are sustainable and when they've proven a track record, maybe like 3 or 4 months with a healthy TVL. But I will not be deploying all of my XRP right away, right? Slowly and over time, I'll definitely start to participate in yield strategies with my XRP, but don't rush, okay? Don't rush. This is all ongoing, and these are all developments that have taken place recently. And the DeFi ecosystem on the XRPL, albeit it's maturing, it's still relatively new and fresh, and we do not know what protocols are going to survive, which ones aren't, which ones are going to be the best ones, so on and so forth. So we're going to look at a lot of opportunities today. We're going to even take a look at some DEXs that are integrating with the XRPL that have a native token for that specific DEX that offers 25% yield, which I think is astronomical, something that I'm definitely going to be participating in. So let's get started. All right, let's share screen and let's thoroughly go through all of these DeFi announcements that have just recently taken place. As you guys know, here in the CYPRX community, we have been advocates for over a year now, trying to get people to see and transition their mindset into this yield generation ideology where the HODL mindset is dead. Institutions are transitioning, companies and organizations are transitioning. Not everybody participates in arbitrage, buying and selling assets and market cycles. And some whales just want to consistently hold. And so now for the first time ever, this EVM sidechain capability and the ability for us to utilize our XRP to generate passive income is happening for the first time. So we're going to start here. PeerSys Technology posted this out. from Apex 2025. So it says here, the one and only Joel Katz and Ripple's Jazzy Cooper announced the XRPL EVM is going live Q2 at Apex, featuring some DeFi apps like Strobe Finance, Vertex Protocol, Secure Labs, and Squid Router building on it. So these are the first ones that I want to cover thoroughly and in detail, so that way you understand what each of these are, what they bring to the table, and how we're going to be able to utilize them. All right. Starting with Strobe Finance. And as we progress, we're going to look at some other DeFi primitives being built out on the XRPL. We're going to look at some recent announcements from NASDAQ-oriented companies that are listed on NASDAQ that just announced that they're going to be building out XRP treasuries that generate yield. And then we're going to also be looking at some real estate developments, and then we'll kind of end the Zoom call. All right. So starting with Strobe Finance. This is the Strobe Finance X profile. You can see it says XRPL native DeFi. This is a really great 15-minute video from one of the tech leads. I believe his name is Neo, if I'm not mistaken, where he just goes into detail on what it is that they're bringing to the table. Heading over here to the Strobe Finance website, you can see it mentions Unify Liquidity Layer on the XRPL, where it's going to offer native money markets, where we're going to be able to unlock new yield opportunities for XRP holders by tapping into diverse reward sources, leveraging billions in market cap to make XRP more useful than ever. They're going to allow vault strategies, and they are going to allow lending and borrowing. So if we come over here to their documents, this is the introduction to Strobe Finance. Like I mentioned, this is going to be lengthy. I'm going to thoroughly read through all of these protocols and what it is that they're set to offer to us as XRP enthusiasts. So when it comes to decentralized finance, as I mentioned, XRP has mostly been excluded due to the nature of XRP Ledger, on which it is used as a gas token. The biggest reason why is that the XRPL has not incorporated smart contract capabilities so far. In other words, developers cannot write and deploy smart contracts to the XRPL for others to run custom logic. Instead, XRPL defines a set of predefined transaction types. Although a subset of predefined transaction types like AMM bid can be used to participate in certain DeFi-like activities like swaps, there's a clear limit on how creative DApps and developers can be. All transaction types need to be predefined, and for new transaction types to be added, they need to be proposed to and voted on by XRPL validators to be activated on the XRPL. This was the case until recently, that Ripple has built an EVM sidechain partnered up with XLR to enable cross-chain communication between XRPL and the EVM sidechain, as well as any other chains that are connected to XLR. This is significant in many ways. It unlocks programmability for the users using XRPL through XRPL itself still lacks smart contract functionality. XRPL native assets such as XRP can now be transferred to other chains that have smart contract capabilities. Moreover, it has the potential to unlock huge amounts of capital that were inherently locked within the XRPL alone. Strobe Protocol positions itself to best utilize and create value from its ongoing development. It is built on the XRPL, XLR, and EVM sidechain, aiming to provide the best yield experience for users. And so if we come over here to the products that they're going to be offering, it says here they're going to offer a money market product where Strobe contracts on EVM sidechain will offer permissionless DeFi lending and borrowing. So this Strobe protocol is going to offer lending and borrowing strategies pretty much like Aave. It says other products will gradually roll out more new products and key feature upgrades to better service the users and DeFi needs. All these products will exclusively be available on XRPL only, thanks to underlying technology of XLR and the EVM sidechain. This means Strobe Protocol will be accessible by using XRPL compatible wallets like Xamen or Xiren. All right, so that's pretty cool in my personal opinion. We're going to be able to lend and borrow utilizing our XRP on this platform. Next, in the list, it says Vertex Protocol. So Vertex Protocol, just heading over here and thoroughly reading through, starting on its X profile. It says it is a lightning fast order book DEX with powerful trading features across margin for maximal efficiency, where users can trade the top 60 plus perp and spot markets. If we come over here, this is a little article from just yesterday, where it says the XRP ledger is set to be compatible with Ethereum smart contracts through the launch of the Ethereum virtual machine compatibility sidechain in the second quarter of 2025, which is now. There's literally only like 2 weeks left or 3 weeks left, whatever the case is, of second quarter. So I'm assuming that these announcements are going to continue to be frivolous as we progress to the remainder of this month. This development was confirmed by Ripple's Chief Technology Officer David Schwartz at Apex 2025. The sidechain, developed in collaboration with Piersys Tech, aims to expand the utility of XRP beyond its traditional payment role by integrating Ethereum smart contract capability into the XRPL ecosystem. One thing that myself and Aqua have discovered is that the vast majority of XRP enthusiasts are still so solely focused on its traditional payment role, XRP being utilized for cross-border payments and remittances and things of that nature, that they're failing to realize that DeFi unlocks an extra added layer of utility that's going to drive significant amounts of demand for XRP over the coming months and years. Activity on the sidechain's testnet suggests initial developer interest. So right now, this is all on testnet. Projects including Strobe Finance, Vertex Protocol, and Secure Labs are already building applications. Additionally, 87 new entities with no prior involvement in the XRP ecosystem are now contributing on testnet. So it'll be interesting to see how many of those go live in the next consecutive couple of months. This suggests the potential for broad ecosystem growth upon the mainnet release. And so just thoroughly reading through the documents of Vertex Protocol. All right, it says Vertex is a next generation decentralized exchange that seamlessly combines the speed and precision of centralized trading platforms with the security and transparency of on-chain settlement. It can power trading across spot, perpetuals, and embedded money markets on multiple chains with unified liquidity all in one place. It is anchored by cutting-edge technology. Vertex is built to redefine decentralized finance, delivering a trading experience that is fast, fluid, and future-rich, tailored for traders of every kind, from casual enthusiasts to seasoned professionals. Further reading through the documents and looking at some of their products, they offer spot trading, perpetuals trading, and money markets. So the one thing for us as yield-generating strategists that we're going to be most interested in is if we scroll right down here to their money market. So it says, decentralized money markets have reshaped DeFi by enabling trustless, over-collateralized borrowing and lending without traditional intermediaries. Interest rates are programmatically determined by smart contracts, fostering more predictability, market behavior, and insights. Vertex money markets will enable users to earn interest on deposits, borrow against spot assets for leverage and spot trading, use spot assets as collateral for perpetual positions. By integrating a money market directly into its DEX, Vertex users can borrow spot assets automatically using their portfolio margin to secure loans. The money market's smart contracts are contained on-chain and housed within the Vertex risk engine and clearinghouse. So again, this will be available and integrated with the XRPL in the next consecutive couple of weeks/months, according to the announcement from David Schwartz at Apex. Now, what I noticed about this Vertex protocol or this DEX is that they offer a native token. And so the native token for this DEX is the Vertex token, right? So you can see right here. Now the Vertex token currently is offering 24.91%. This actually changed the other day. It was sitting at like 54% according to their X post. And what I find interesting is that you can see down here, one of the DEXs on base that we are highly familiar with here in this community is Aerodrome. And you can see right down here, it actually mentions Vertex's integration with Aerodrome to provide liquidity to Vertex pools on base to earn yield. So I just think that that's interesting. Just kind of shows some longevity on their behalf because Aerodrome is a DEX. It has been around for a while, and in my personal opinion, is one of those more trustworthy DEXs that has some reputability in this space. Okay. So anybody that's interested in possibly earning some yield, again, not financial advice, they have a multitude of different wallets that you can connect to, a multitude of different chains, including Say, which caught my eye, along with Sonic and AVAX, because those are three chains that we had been paying attention to here in this community, especially Say. So just yet again, another DeFi opportunity here in this community where if we want to just participate in native staking to secure the network, it says here 24% on this native DEX token Vertex. Okay, so just maybe something to take a look at, not financial advice. I'm not personally participating in this right now, but maybe in the future, who knows, right? Right now, Vertex is only trading at about 3 cents and is down 10% on the day. So take a look at it. If it floats your boat, maybe possibly look for some entries. This was a Vertex V3 integration that I wanted to read to you guys from February 25th, February 5th, 2025, where it talks about this edge performance integration that they incorporated into the Vertex DEX. I'm not going to waste your time. It just pretty much goes over how Vertex is secure, kind of what it does, and how it's better than other DEXs. Maybe I'll drop this. I'll drop all these links in the chat so you guys can thoroughly go through this. And this will kind of just be some of that solidification research that you can do to, maybe back why you might want to hold the Vertex token. Okay. Moving on. So back to the original post. So we covered Strobe, we covered Vertex. So we got a lending and borrowing protocol. We got a money market compatible DEX that's going to offer, perps, lending, so on and so forth in the Vertex protocol. Now let's go on to Secured Labs. Secured Labs is very interesting. One of the least established ones that was announced at Apex. So I'm very interested to see how we see kind of the developments around this platform. So here is Secured Labs. This is their X profile. Right now, they only have 320 followers. So we can clearly see that this stuff is fresh and brand new. And this is not a scam. I would assume that at Apex, David Schwartz on stage with the head of DeFi developments, Jazzy Cooper, announcing this is one of the ongoing developments on the XRPL. I would assume that this is not some scam just because they have a low following count. It's just most likely that most people just don't know about it yet, right? So coming over here, it says, Secured Labs offers the ability to generate passive income with capital protection by providing leverage to DeFi farmers. If we head over here, looking at the introduction to Secured Labs that they posted on their X profile, it says, Secured is a revolutionary platform empowering crypto holders to generate interest on their digital assets in a purely decentralized way by financing liquidity providing activities. It offers depositors the strongest capital protection through high-end risk management, maximizing collateral efficiency, seamless liquidation processes with no size limit or price impact, community-owned tokens reserved acting as a safety net. By collateralizing LP tokens in secured DEXs and DEX liquidity providers can access affordable funding and maximize their capital efficiency with reduced liquidation risk because of the correlation between the loan and collateral, dynamic protocol tuning based on proprietary LP token rating methodologies, and market monitoring through cutting-edge risk management dashboards. So this seems like another really good platform where if it does launch and everything seems successful, yet another way for us to generate passive income on our digital assets. If we come over here to the docs, this is probably the most interesting part of Secured Platform. It says here, looking at their objectives and how it works. Providing liquidity to pool-based decentralized exchanges is one of the main sources of yield in the DeFi space. However, the strategy has two major drawbacks that Secured can solve. For part-time investors who already have their hands tied elsewhere and wish to earn a peaceful passive income, the risk and complexity is associated to liquidity pools, and it is too high, and most of them prefer to keep their crypto sleeping in their wallet. For experienced liquidity providers who are familiar with impermanent loss and yield farming, providing liquidity is not always capital efficient, and they prefer to focus on more complex strategies or move to centralized liquidity DEXs. Secured solves these two issues by splitting the liquidity provision positions into two different strategies: indirect liquidity providing and leveraged liquidity providing. So indirect liquidity providing is where depositors receive passive income while transferring risk and complexity to experienced liquidity providers or borrowers. Leveraged liquidity providing is where experienced liquidity providers can optimize their capital usage and multiply their returns by accessing extra funding and reduced cost. So I'm going to be most interested in this indirect liquidity providing. So taking a deeper look into this, opening up their white papers, it says here, digital asset holders from corporate treasuries. I like that. Why? Because this shows that both institutions and retail investors will be able to use this protocol. So it says digital asset holders from corporate treasuries to retail investors can generate simple passive income by making deposits in their savings accounts. This deposit, grouped by asset and lending pools, are used to grant loans to liquidity providers. The loan interest paid by liquidity providers, i.e. borrowers, generates revenue in the depositor's saving balance. Like most lending protocols, Secure protects deposits from repayment defaults by requiring borrowers to lock assets in a collateral pool. The key difference is that instead of using uncorrelated assets as collateral, Secured uses the same staked indexed liquidity pool represented by LP tokens. In case the collateral value becomes insufficient in comparison with the loan value, a liquidation is triggered. This liquidation process is frictionless as it consists simply in withdrawing liquidity from the DEX liquidity pool without any impact on price and paying back the loan. And it just gives a brief example of what this is and then goes into the leveraged liquidity providing option. All right. So in the near future, definitely something that I'm going to want to be paying attention to, primarily because it specifically says corporate treasuries and retail investors, as I mentioned, are going to be able to participate. And this development is going to go hand in hand with two major announcements that just recently took place, where institutions just yesterday announced that that is exactly what they're doing. They're building treasury funds for XRP where they're going to be generating passive income and yield. So this just goes to solidify anybody that's watching this as a recording. People that are like, yap. Oh, institutions and, large banks and treasury funds and all this aren't going to be generating yield. No, they are. And they're doing it right now in the moment. And it's all taking place for the first time ever. We're at such a historical moment in time where looking back a year from now, not paying attention to this type of stuff, in my personal opinion, is going to put you so far behind. So you guys just being on the Zoom call right now, reading these docs with me and thoroughly going through all these DeFi primitives is just groundbreaking. Okay. So that was another option announced at Apex 2025. So far we've covered Strobe, Vertex, Secured, and now last but not least, Squid Router. All right. So Squid Router, interestingly enough, here is their X profile. It says seamlessly connecting chains, tokens, wallets, swap, send, and manage your crypto across EVM, Cosmos, Solana, Bitcoin, powered by XLR. XLR, yet again, playing a major role. So many people are sleeping on XLR as a digital asset and its utility that it offers to this space. Reading through this Medium article, it says, Squid, powered by XLR, functions as a vital interoperability tool offering users seamless token swaps across 80 plus blockchains. While XLR provides the essential bridge infrastructure, Squid serves as the portal that makes cross-chain transactions effortless and accessible. Through Squid, users can interact with DeFi applications, purchase NFTs, Mr. Aquaman, and access gaming across multiple chains, all without the hassle of multiple wallet setups or interact transaction steps. Squid essentially offers a one-click solution ensuring broad liquidity access for XRP Ledger users, developers, and projects. The XRP Ledger is built for a multi-chain future and is ideal for cross-chain liquidity across different assets. Squid will only enhance this. And so here there is a panel discussion with David Schwartz and an individual representative from Squid. I'll share this link in the chat so you guys can thoroughly listen to this. Very interesting, and yet more confirmation from one of the key developers of the XRPL, David Schwartz himself. All right. Taking a look at their website briefly. Here it is. It just says swap anything for anything, which I think is just really cool. Squid powers unlimited access across multiple different chains. Trusted by the best. Talks about how 350,000 people have used Squid so far. $1.5 billion safely routed across different networks, 900,000 different transactions with 7 different smart contract audits. Taking a look a little bit further at the Squid ecosystem, it is very well developed. Lots of names that we already know. One that we just went over, like Vertex. If we get out of that, let's look. So we got different wallets that are integrated with this platform. So you got MetaMask, most people are familiar with. You got Circle's name right there, Lido, Exodus Wallet, Ondo, right? So their ecosystem is relatively big already and growing significantly, considering that they just made an announcement with the XRPL. All right. Here is what their platform kind of looks like. You can pretty much swap anything to anything, which I think is really cool. It's very seamless and the user interface is very easy to understand and grasp. Definitely click through and take a look, as this will probably be a tool that we're going to utilize in the future on the XRPL for cross-chain interoperability features and stuff like that. All right. So I just wanted to introduce that to you guys as well, because that was in this PureSys post. Now taking a look at some developments that were not announced at Apex that are still ongoing on the XRPL that did not make it in terms of headline announcements from Apex. So first we have this platform called Emua. Now this platform was rebranded. I don't remember off the top of my head what this platform was previously named, but it has been built out by an ex-Ripple representative. All right. So this is the universal protocol for shared security, where users are going to be able to build verifiable trust machines, restake any token, secure off-chain services, and earn yield and self-custody. Taking a look at this, it says, learning the story, IMUA is the first layer 1 blockchain protocol that is bootstrapped using the shared security of other blockchains such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. This not only means IMUA is the Genesis service or AVS on the network and is dogfooding its own design, but it also makes IMUA sufficiently and decentralized from day one. And here is a little bit about the team. Warren Paul Anderson is the co-founder and CEO. This is the gentleman that used to work at Ripple. You guys can go read his LinkedIn profile. He was at Ripple for a couple of years before he left and started his own thing. And this is the project in which he's been working on for a couple of years now. Taking a look at their website, it says here, the Universal Protocol for Shared Security. Briefly reading over this, it says, stake anything. IMUA shared security lets you restake Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, XRP, Doge, TON, and many more without minting or wrapping on IMUA. Your tokens stay self-custodied in your wallet on-chain the way that they were designed for. So I like that statement right there, because maybe this means that we can connect the cold storage wallet and earn directly through our cold storage wallet, which just puts another added layer of security to this yield feature. It says here, earn yield. You can extend IMUA shared security to your favorite off-chain services and networks such as AI, games, bridges, oracles, sidechains, and earn yield from the fees that they pay. Then it says you can build anything. You no longer have to waste time bootstrapping infrastructure and worry about scaling challenges. You can build everything off-chain and use IMUA shared security to secure your services as if they were on-chain. So as I mentioned, a lot of this stuff is in testnet, including IMUA. It is not officially launched yet, but it says here in a recent post from June 10th, so this is just the other day, put your XRP to work, put your Bitcoin to work, put your ETH to work, put your Solana to work. So you can clearly see, their task here at hand is to allow users to put digital assets to work, okay, which I really like, kind of follows the ethos that we practice here at Wealth 28, always having our assets working for us. Here is another recent development post that kind of just talks thoroughly through everything that they've been doing behind the scenes. I've highlighted some of the key takeaways surrounding just specifically XRP. But if you're a Sol enthusiast, if you like ETH, they're doing a lot of things for those ecosystems as well. And this is recent from May 6, 2025, so relatively fresh. Just going over some of these highlights, it says, what did IMUA do in April? Specifically right here, it says XRP staking logic has been finished and batch testing is underway. So that key phrase right there, testing underway. This is not officially launched yet, but it is something that we can look forward to in the near future. Right down here, it says XRP staking. Staking logic for XRP was finalized, with XRP withdrawal logic continuing to get redefined. Contributors also made progress on XRP bootstrapping functionality, which can allow XRP to be used to initialize the network. Quality assurance testing. The E2E automated testing framework was expanded. Batch transaction testing for XRP is currently still underway. Then they had some front-end developments where the staking portal now supports EVM, LSTs, and XRP. While customized Big Dipper Explorer refresh brings the IMUA brand front and center for users. So just some brief XRP updates surrounding what it is that they're planning to integrate. It looks like we're going to be able to stake our XRP, which again, if they prove long-term survivability and actually announce these things, I'm definitely going to be taking a look at this, especially if we can get some double-digit APRs. All right. Now, transitioning, taking a look at some recent NASDAQ-listed companies that are now announcing officially that they are going to be participating in yield generation strategies. We had some people in the community ask a very important question. Why, if these things are being announced, has it not done anything significant for the price of XRP? I want you guys to really focus on key vocabulary, is that they've announced partnerships and that they plan to do these things, not that they have been implemented yet. All right. So just taking a look at one of the recent announcements, NASDAQ listed Vivo Power is deploying $100 million in XRP on Flare networks. Ripple and XRP Ledger built the enterprise grade foundation. Flare now adds the DeFi layer with F Assets, Firelight, and users will be able to earn compliant yield. I like that key vocabulary word for all those naysayers out there that are like, oh, DeFi is not going to be compliant. It's not going to be regulated. They're yappers and they're still living in 2022. We have to move with the changing tides and realize that compliant DeFi is going to be a thing in the near future. So Vivo, Power, and Flare launched definitive strategic partnership to deploy US $100 million in XRP for institutional yield. It doesn't say has deployed, it says they're set to deploy. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Right down here, it says Vivo Power will generate yield via protocols on Flare, such as Firelight, and reinvest that income directly back into its core XRP holdings, creating a perpetually compounding capital efficient Treasury. This is massive because it just solidifies things that myself, Aqua, and Kev have been telling you guys, that not all institutions and organizations are going to commit to arbitrage. There are going to be whales that never want to sell and they just want to generate passive income. And that is going to create unprecedented demand and pent up consistent demand for these digital assets. All right. Especially like XRP that has never had this before. Here is a direct post from Vivo Power. I want to thoroughly go through this organization because it's very interesting and there's a lot of dark webs out there and connections. I'll just show you guys those briefly. We won't go too thoroughly through those, but it says Vivo Power is building a virtuous cycle, generating yield and using it to systematically increase its core XRP position. I love that sentence right there. Creating a perpetually compounding engine for shareholder value. Here is the Vivo Power X profile with only 3,253 followers. So again, most people aren't paying attention to this. Here is their website, where directly on their website, it says Vivo Power is an international battery technology electric vehicle service company whose core purpose is to deliver sustainable energy solutions to its customers. Sustainable energy, XRPL. I just find that very interesting. Vivo Power is a certified B Corporation and has operations in Australia, Canada, the Netherlands, Philippines, the UAE, and the United States, along with the United Kingdom. So they're an internationally trusted organization. If we come over here, I was looking at the top shareholders of this organization because it is a NASDAQ listed organization currently trading at about $6.20, or excuse me, $5.92. I was looking at the shareholders. I always pay attention to this stuff. So highlighted in blue are some of the high-end shareholders. It says it has 16 institutional owners and shareholders that have filed 13 DG or 13F forms with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Highlighted in blue are some of the organizations that also have partnerships with Ripple. So UBS Group, Morgan Stanley, and SBI Securities Company, right? If we take a look back at 2024, Ripple joined UBS and SIX Group as one of the Tennity's global strategic partners. And then Smoke recently posted about a month ago, back in May, and it says right here, Morgan Stanley has stated that adopting Ripple-like payment systems could shorten settlement periods, speed up transactions, and reduce the risk of fraud. Morgan Stanley considers Ripple to be a leading international payment alternative to SWIFT. And then we also have SBI, Ripple in Asia, offering faster and safer next-generation decision-making infrastructure using distributed ledger tech. And then a direct post from Ripple themselves back in April 29, 2024, where they joined forces with Hashkey and SBI, where it says here, the XRPL was the ideal blockchain infrastructure for us to build proven supply chain finance solutions. And it says, we are confident in our ability to drive meaningful transformation and introduce native, innovative, cutting-edge solution businesses for Japan utilizing the XRPL. And this is directly from SBI Group. So I just found that interesting that some of the largest organizations that hold a vast share of this organization, Vivo, are some of the same organizations that have partnered with Ripple in the past. And now you have Vivo announcing a strategic partnership with Flare to generate yield on XRP and grow their bag. You catch my drift, right? So that was very interesting. Another major announcement that just recently hit. This is from today, June 12th, 2025. And this just goes hand in hand. Remember, XRP Treasury. And if we go back to what, right, remember, we had secured announced from Peersist at Apex, David Schwartz announcing this is one of the organizations that's building DeFi apps, secured. And one of the things that they offer in their documents, it says from corporate treasuries to retail investors, individuals can generate passive income by making deposits in their savings accounts And this is exactly what these large corporate treasuries are freaking doing. And they're announcing for the first time ever. I mean, this is just monumental to really truly live through this and see all the things that we've been sharing with you guys finally materialize. So June 12th, 2025, it says Trident Digital, yet again, another NASDAQ listed company, the second one to have recently announced XRP bag strategies. It says a leading catalyst for digital transformation and tech optimization services and Web3 activation based in Singapore today announced an initiative to raise up to $500 million to establish one of the world's first large scale corporate XRP treasuries and appoints Chance Securities LLC as a strategic advisor. This initiative will focus on the acquisition of XRP tokens as a long-term strategic reserve, the deployment of staking mechanisms to generate yield and deep engagement within the Ripple ecosystem. Trident will collaborate with select infrastructure and application projects, further strengthening its commitment to the advancement of decentralized finance. Down here it says, the founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Trident said in a statement, as a public company, our commitment to transparency, strong governance, and strategic foresight guides every decision that we make. We see digital assets as key enablers in the evolution of the global financial landscape. It kind of sounds like a researcher, if I'm being completely honest. We've been screaming this at the top of our lungs. This initiative reflects our belief in the transformative potential of blockchain tech for capital allocation and cross-border value transfer. Cross-border value transfer. And what are they doing? They're trying to build big bags of XRP. I'm just saying, it's kind of all fallen into place. Through this initiative, Trident aims to demonstrate how public companies can thoughtfully and responsibly participate in the ongoing development of decentralized finance, or DeFi. All right. So that was another major groundbreaking announcement. We have two now major NASDAQ listed organizations pretty much saying that they're going to be participating in yield generating strategies. Huge, right? Probably some of the biggest announcements in 2025. It doesn't say that they are yet, but it does say how much money they plan to start their allocation towards this type of strategy. So just keep that in mind, because there was an individual that shared a message in the chat from one of those fake influencers. It's like, oh my gosh, get ready for the pump. No, it's not happening yet. But in the near future, when this money does unlock and become, active in DeFi on the XRPL, we can definitely assume that we're going to see some significant fireworks. Okay. Let me pause for a second, collect myself. Let's get some water. We're going to do another transition.